Yes, you're going to need a graphic calculator. Every quiz, you're going to need a graphic calculator. But on the test, you're not going to have it now. Number one, all of it. This is a madhouse. Did I use up all my chalk? No. Huh? No, the good chalk.
It's right there.
No, the good chalk.
The white one?
Yeah.
It's right there.
No, it has to be a special brand right here. Oh, there it is. Alpha Premium. This is my last box. I guess I'm gonna have to go buy some more.
Ooh, like right there.
These small little things? Come on. Oh my goodness, people. Basically, all you have to do is write the equation of a line, write the equation of another line, and then you find where they intersect, right? It's just algebra 1. Okay, what are the coordinates of this triangle? A, 0, 0, B, 8, 1, and C, 4, 7. Am I really doing all? This is the first time ever I gotta do all.
No, don't do A. Don't do A.
Oh, everybody got it.
No, you did it yesterday.
Yeah, but it says all of it.
Sorry, I meant B.
I love it. Okay, what? But I want to go over A because some of you just don't know, are not realizing something. Did anybody notice something about the answer from A? Okay, the 10th graders did because they're math team trained. What about the rest of you? Here, let me do problem 1A for you. I just look at it and go 4 8/3. That's the answer to A. How did I do it? Look at the coordinates now. Remember, you're finding the centroid, which is like the balancing point. So it kind of makes sense that to find the coordinates of the centroid, a shortcut would be just average the x coordinates. You guys know how to average three things, right? Add them up and divide by 30. And then average the y coordinates. And katoosh, that's the answer. Did anybody discover that? You're supposed to discover it. Or you can do the long way, which is write the equation of one median, write the equation of another median, and find where they intersect. But didn't it come out to the same thing? Oh, so Mr. Park, in the future, can I use the shortcut? Yes. But this is the only one that has a shortcut. The other two, no shortcut. Unless you realize something. Did anybody realize something special about this triangle? Takara? What's an isosceles triangle? What does that mean though? Did anybody notice that this is an isosceles triangle? Because isn't this length root 65 and that's root 65? It's isosceles. Okay, we don't know anything, so just move on. B, find the coordinates of the orthocenter. The orthocenter is the intersection of the altitudes. Okay, which altitude do you want to do? Got 3 altitudes. Got to pick 2 out of the 3. Which one? A. The one from A. So like this.
Sure.
Okay, so first you got to find the slope of BC. The slope of BC is equal to 6 over -4, which is -3/2. Therefore, this slope is going to be the negative reciprocal of it, which is 2/3. So if you use point slope form, you're going to get y minus 0 equals 2/3 times x minus 0. Did you get that? Or are you guys using the math team secret I taught you yesterday? Anybody using the math team secret? Not even the math team people doing the math team secret? Okay, we'll just do it. Okay, and then what other altitude do you want to do? The one from B or the one from C?
B.
That's bizarre, but that's capable. Okay, so first you got to find the slope of AC. The slope, wait, this is what? The slope, what did I just find? The slope of BC, right? Now we need the slope of AC, which is 7/4. So using point slope form, it's got to pass through this point. It's going to be y minus 1 equals the negative reciprocal of that times x minus 8. And then just find where those two lines intersect. This is algebra 1. So if I were me, I would take this thing and substitute it right there. Substitute 2/3 x and then solve that equation. You guys can do that, right? Or is that the problem? That's the problem, we can't do algebra 1, Cody Rhodes. Okay, this is what, if I were me, this is what I would do. 2/3 x minus 1 is equal to negative 4/7 x plus 32/7. Did I do that correctly? We cannot even distribute negative 4/7. Okay, now, what's the next step? Get rid of the fractions. Multiply both sides by 21. So if you do that, you get 14x minus 21 is equal to negative 12x plus 96. Cuckoo! So 26x is equal to 117. Is that right? So x is equal to 117 over 26. That's kind of odd, that number. Let me check. 3, 7, 21. That looks correct. Is that the answer? Is that the answer on the bottom? No, something went wrong here. Oh, you can divide by 13, that's why. So that is the right answer. It's just not reduced. So the answer is 9/2. That is the correct answer. And then once you get the x coordinate, how do you get the y coordinate? Plug it back into one of these. Which one looks nicer? The nice one or the ugly one? I think the nice one. Yeah? So if I plug in 9/2 for x there, the 2's cancel out, so I get 3. Y equals 3. So therefore the orthocenter is 9/2 comma 3. And then C, it says the perpendicular bisector of the sides. Now, since you already found these two slopes already, you might as well use it right in the next step. You know what I'm talking about? So, if you want to write the perpendicular bisector of this segment here, let's erase. First you got to find the midpoint over there. What's the midpoint? 6, 4, and then it's going to be perpendicular. So what is the slope? We already know the slope of BC is negative 3/2, so the slope is going to be the negative reciprocal of that. So point slope form, y minus 4 equals 2/3 times x minus 6. Okay, and then since we already found the slope of this one, find the midpoint. What's the midpoint? Oh gosh. You cannot average two things and the other ones are zeros. What's the average of 0 and 4? What's the average of 0 and 7? Oh, how come now you can do it? And then make a perpendicular, but we already found the slope of AC to be 7/4, so the slope is going to be the negative reciprocal of that. So point slope form, y minus 7/2 is equal to negative 4/7 times x minus 2. So these are two perpendicular bisectors. Find where they intersect. Now I'm not going to do that. You guys are going to have to do that on your own. I don't care how you do it. See, that's why if you use the math team secret, you know how good, easy this is. Yeah.
You know, if you use the math thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you plug in the slope.
Okay, here. If you're going to use the math team thing, okay, if the slope is 2/3, you write 2x minus 3y, and it got to pass through the point 6, 4, so 6 and 4 is it's 0. Okay, and then this one, the slope is negative 4/7, so you write 4x plus 7y equals, and then if you plug in 2 and 7/2, oh, this is going to be ugly. If I plug in 2 there, that's 8. If I plug in 7/2 there, that's 49/2. What's 8 plus 49/2? 65/2? Did anybody do the math team secret way? Did it? And then now, look, all you got to do is multiply this equation by 2, and then you can subtract the 2 to solve for y. That's why the math team secret is good, you know. But I would say most people, every year, I've been teaching this for what, 27 years? Most people don't do the math team secret. Just do this. It works every time. Solve for y in one equation and plug it in there. That's the easiest thing to do. And just grind out the algebra until you get the answer. Okay, what was the answer for this? 15/4, 5/2. Okay, this is, now part D, I'll tell you right now. You know what number 1 of the next test is? Is this problem right here, number 1. So number 1, think about how you're going to do this problem, because this is number 1. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you different coordinates over here. And then the problem is going to say, write the equation of Euler's line. That has always been number one for the last 20-something years. Now think about what you have to do to write the equation of Euler's line. So you got these 3 points, the centroid, the orthocenter, and the circumcenter. Do I have to find all 3? No, you just gotta find 2 of them, because all 3 of them are collinear, right? Which one is the easiest to find? Yeah, because there's a shortcut for that, right? So basically, you just gotta do a little bit of work to find either this one or this one. Now, you guys seen the work it takes. Which one is easier, the orthocenter or the circumcenter? Come on! The orthocenter is easier because the circumcenter, you actually have to compute the midpoint, whereas the orthocenter, you're just using a point that's already given already. You know what I'm talking about? So this one takes less work, but it's up to you. I don't care. I don't care which one. All you gotta do is find any 2 out of these 3, and then now write the equation of the line. So how do I write the equation of this, of Euler's line? What do I do? You gotta find the slope. So out of these 3 points, pick any 2. Which 2 you want to do? These 2, because they're close together. Okay? How do you find the slope? Y minus y over x minus x. Now let me give you a tip. You should have learned this in pre-algebra, because whenever you have fractions within fractions, what's the fastest way to simplify it? Multiply top and bottom by the least common denominator of all fractions. So look at the 4 fractions that are here, because this is like over 1 and over 1. What's the least common denominator? 6! Multiply top and bottom by 6, so multiply this by 6. Go. Oh gosh. 16 minus 18 over 24 minus 27. So this comes out to -2 over -3, which is 2/3. So the slope of Euler's line is 2/3. And then you pick any one of these points. Which point you want to do? The first one. So y minus 8/3 is equal to 2/3 times x minus 4. And then just simplify it. If I were me, I would multiply through by 3. So 3y minus 8 is equal to 2x minus 8. Oh, the 8 cancel out. So you get 0 equals 2x minus 3y. That's the equation of Euler's line. And I want you to notice something. Isn't this simply that right there? Because the triangle was isosceles. But you can probably guess on the test it's not going to be isosceles, yeah? But since I told you that, maybe it will be. But since I told you that, now I gotta go back to the other one. My goodness, people, this is just algebra. See, you guys are just rusty. Okay, 2, 3, and 5. Number 2. Okay. A line with, okay, did you guys draw a picture? A line with path, here's the point of tree 1. A slope of -2 looks something like that. Find the area, are you joking me? Find the area of this triangle. What do you need to find the area of this triangle? What's the formula for an area of a triangle? 1/2 base times height. So isn't this the base and this is the height, since that's a right triangle? So basically all you have to find is the x-intercept and the y-intercept, and this problem's over then, right? So what's the slope of this line? -2. Okay, write the equation of this line. That's what we're doing in this worksheet, writing equations of lines. How do you write the equation of the line? Are you guys going to use the math team secret or the point slope? Because if I were me, I'm just going to, I mean, when I do problems, I just do the math team secret. Okay, you guys do point slope. Y minus 1 equal -2 times x minus 3. And then simplify. You want to simplify it or just leave it? You guys have no idea. -2x plus 6. So 2x plus y is equal to 7. See, using the math team secret, you could have gone right there from the first step. Okay, now the line is written in this form. What is the x-intercept?
7/2.
Yeah, you substitute 0 for y, solve for x, you get 7/2. So if the x-intercept is 7/2, doesn't that mean this is 7/2? How do you find the y-intercept? Substitute 0 for x. Come on, if you can't solve for y right there, just go home. 7. So that's 49/4. Cancel the 4, answer's 9. You don't cancel the 4s, that's the answer. Someone will be going, oh yeah, cancel the 4s. Kidding me? You guys should just write down anything I read on the board. I could just teach you wrong things. Is that it? Okay, just keep staring like you guys normally do. See, this problem, come on. Isn't that kind of ridiculous? No. Okay, here we go, number 3. This is a very important problem. Find the distance between this point and this line. Now notice when I write the equation of this line, see how I put the negative 4s on this side, but I brought it on this side as a positive 4. Why? Somebody tell me why. Yeah, why? No, what? Yeah, so this is general form. Why did I put it in general form? So, in other words, yeah, that's exactly right. Because now I can use the formula that was in the notes. There's something in the notes? Oh, people. If you have a line and a point, you know what the fastest way to find, and when we talk about the distance between a point and a line, we're talking about the shortest possible distance, the perpendicular distance. In fact, the distance between a point and any graph is always the shortest distance. To find this distance, well, if you look in, are you guys looking in the notes for the people who didn't do it? It's simply the square root of ax1 plus by1 plus c all over the square root of a squared plus b squared. This is a formula. Now, did anybody not use the formula and just like did long algebra? And it came out, right? But didn't it take a while? Yeah, you use this formula, you can do it in like 10 seconds. But if you use this formula, the line has to be written in general form. See, this is A, this is B, this is C, this is x1, this is y1. You just plug and chug into this formula, baby. So, what does it come out to? Go! Absolute value of, I just told you what everything is. 4 times 9 minus 3 times 5 plus 4 all over the square root of a squared plus b squared. So what does that come out to? 36 minus 15 plus 4. What is that? 25. Don't forget the absolute value. This distance cannot be negative. And then what is the square root of 4 squared plus 3 squared? 5. Hey, the answer is 5. Or cancel the 5s and the answer is 2. I don't know what you guys. Answer is 5. Oh, the answer comes out next, Mr. Park. Yeah, that's how I make problems, people. Oh, so Mr. Park, I need to memorize this. Only if you want to get a good grade. And you gotta have it in your tool, but we're gonna be using it the whole year, people. You guys never seen this in Algebra 2? This formula? Pity you did. That's okay, you know what now. Okay, so number 4, wait a minute. How did you guys do number 4 if you can't do number 3? That's what I want to know. Cam? You didn't do it. But why isn't it on the board?
I'll do it later.
Oh, now you think you can do it. See, people, I'm telling you, I see pain coming. Pain's coming. You guys, what are you guys waiting for? 8, 5, B, 0, 1, oh gosh, 9, negative 2. Why would you only write some problems on the board and not all of them? That's just strange. You guys are just bizarre. Find the area of this triangle using the formula 1/2 base times height. Okay, which side do you want to call the base? You want to call this side the base? Okay, how do I find the base? Distance formula. Okay, let's do that quickly. So that's a 9 and a 3. That's 81 and 9. So that's root 90. 3 root 10. Okay, now, how do you find the height? Right here. How do you find this height? What did we learn in this problem? Isn't this the distance between this point and this line? That's how you find the height of a triangle. It's the distance between a point and a line. So all you have to do now is write the equation of this line in general form. How come you gotta put it in general form? Because that's the way it has to be when you use this formula. You have to put it in general form. So the first thing you do is find the slope. So what's the slope gonna be? Quick! These are just single digit numbers, people. Y minus y, 3 over x minus x, and one of them is 0. If you cannot subtract, just go home already, right? Negative 1/3. So, what's the equation of the line? Which point do you want to use, that one or down? Okay, so the equation of this line is going to be y minus 1 equal negative 1/3 times x minus 0. So let's just put x. Multiply both sides by 3. 3y minus 3 equal negative x. And then so we get x plus 3y minus 3 equals 0. This is general form. You have to put the line in that form. So now, we want to find the distance between this line and that point, right? Because that's going to give me the height of the triangle. So, applying this formula again, what do you get? You get the absolute value. Now, this is A. A is 1. This is B. This is C. This is x1. This is y1. Just plug and chug, baby. 1 times 8 plus 3 times 5 minus 3 all over the square root of a squared plus b squared. Can we do that in our head? What's a squared plus b squared? Root 10. So we got 8 plus 15 minus 3. What is that? Oh my gosh. 20. So 20 over root 10 is that distance there. And then look, the root 10s cancel out. 2 goes into 20 10 times. 3 times 10. Wait, let me get my calculator. 30! Oh my goodness. See, aren't you glad I asked that question? How come I gotta ask the questions? And then, are you sure 5? 5? Okay. I forgot this is period 3.
Sounds about right.
Okay, if you have a linear function, first of all, what does linear function mean? It means it's a line. Except it's written in function notation. Now, if you see f of 1 equals 5, what point does that represent? That represents the point 1 comma 5, and this represents the point 3 comma 9. How do you write the equation of the line? First you find the slope. So let's see if we can do this. This is all single digit numbers. What is y minus y over x minus x? 2. So which point do you want to use? Pick one of these points. Top or bottom? Okay, so y minus 5 is equal to 2 times x minus 1. So y equals, can you guys do this in your head? 2x minus 2, but then you got to add the 5. Plus 3. How come we have to solve for y? Because that's what function notation is. Just like f of x is equal to 2x plus 3, right? Right? You guys learned f of x is like y, right? I hope. Okay, now it says find f of 6. What do you think I'm going to do? Plug in 6 right there and then you get 15. And then number 6, everybody could do that on your calculator? Okay, good. You follow the directions? It was self-explanatory. Except some people didn't even take the calculator out of the wrapping yet. It's okay, you can just do it for the first time on the quiz. Now you can probably guess, if you're going to use a graphing calculator for the quiz, and this is the only problem that you used your graphing calculator for, I guess this is the problem then, huh? But whatever. Mr. Park, we can't make conclusions like that. Okay, we actually have a little time to learn today. Wow. Even after all of that. Okay, what have we got to learn today? We've got to be able to work with I. We got to be able to solve quadratic equations. Ah. Okay, first, what the heck is I? What is I? What did we learn last year? I is but what is it? It's the square root of -1. And then remember this, what is I squared equal to? Negative 1. What is I cubed? I believe all of this is in your notes, yeah? Well, isn't I cubed the same? See, what do you guys do? Just memorize it? Oh gosh, see, that's the problem. Isn't I cubed the same thing as I squared times I? Because then you would add the exponents. Here, let me put the 1 there. Oh yeah, now I get it. Okay, so then isn't the answer just going to be negative 1 times I, which is negative I? Okay, and then what is I to the 4th? Isn't that just I squared squared? So what's negative 1 squared? 1. And then what happens after this? It repeats every 4, right? So I to the 5th is the same thing as this, I to the 6th, I to the 7th, I to the 8th, and it just repeats every 4, right? Okay, and then when you work, so basically we're working with complex numbers now. And when you work with complex numbers, okay, let me just give you a simple problem. If a plus bi is equal to 3 plus 4i, what can you conclude from this? A must be equal to 3 and b must be equal to 4. That's right. And that's how you work with complex numbers. The real part on the left got to equal to the real part on the right. The imaginary part on the left got to equal to the imaginary part on the right. And we're gonna solve a lot of problems like that. Okay, now let's just review, because I don't know. Okay, how would you do this? 2 plus I, is this your homework? No, let's do 3. 2 plus 3i cubed. Simplify this, go. Okay, before we go any further, before we go any further, what is a complex, somebody tell me, what is a complex number? Okay, we're just thinking, we don't know. It's a vector in the complex plane. Now normally we work in the Cartesian plane. In the Cartesian plane, what are these axes? The x and the y. But in the complex plane, we have the real and imaginary axes. This is the complex plane. We graph complex numbers this way. Okay, so let's say this is the complex number. What if I ask you to draw this complex number? What is the real part? So you go 3 on the real axis. What is the imaginary part? It's 4, not 4i now, it's 4. So you go 4 on the imaginary axis, plot the point, so basically just plotting the point 3, 4. Okay? Except it's not x and y axes, it's real and imaginary. And then you draw a vector that goes from the origin to that point right there. This is that complex number. A complex number is a vector in the complex plane. Now those of you who are only in chemistry now, because you guys in physics know all about vectors, right? Yeah. For those of you in chemistry now, just all you gotta know is a vector is an arrow. That's all you gotta know. It's an arrow. Okay, now I believe in your homework, one of the problems is going to ask you, what is the modulus of this complex number? Come on, this was in your book last year, people. What is the modulus of this complex number? Well, okay, I'll just tell you. It's the length of the arrow. How long is the arrow? If you're in a Turkish prison and the only way you can get out is to tell me the length of the arrow, could you do it? Or are you just going to stay in there forever? No, you just make a right triangle. What was this? And what was that? So therefore, using the Pythagorean theorem, what's that? 5. The modulus of this complex number is 5. Modulus means the length of it. Here, let's make a formula then. Here's a formula then. If you have a complex number, a plus bi, let's call that z, because normally we call complex numbers lowercase z. If somebody were to ask you, what is this? This is the modulus, not absolute value. This is the modulus of this complex number. What would it be? So if this was A and this is B, how do you find the length of the hypotenuse? Using the Pythagorean theorem, what would it be? The square root of a squared plus b squared. So if you want a formula to compute the modulus of a complex number, there it is. Otherwise, you can just draw the picture. Okay, now simplify this. How much time do we have? We only got 8 minutes left. We're in a heap of trouble. Okay, you know what? Since this class is so special, let's just tone it down. Let's just go square. So the people watching the video, sorry, we're gonna have to dumb it down a little. Okay, square this, simplify, go! 4 plus,
6i.
oh you gotta be joking, 12i plus 9i. And if you're asking how come it's 12, just go home. Okay, but what is I squared again? -1. So this is actually -9. So what's your answer? -5 plus 12i. There you go. That's how you simplify it. Is this bringing back memories from last year? Okay, what about this? 1 plus 3i all over 2 minus i. How do you simplify like this when you divide complex numbers? What did we learn last year? You have to multiply top and bottom by, oh gosh, by the reciprocal. You can't do that. Oh, so you have 3/4. Oh, if you want to simplify that, just multiply by the reciprocal. Oh, you get 1. 3/4 is equal to 1. Just multiply by the reciprocal. Then you always get 1. Every number is 1. No, you multiply top and bottom by the, what's the word? The conjugate of the denominator. What is the conjugate of 2 minus I? 2 plus I. Is this starting to bring back memories? Oh Lord. Okay, multiply the top using FOIL. 2 plus. Okay, let me call on somebody. Whole 2.
Alright. Well, 4i plus 2 plus,
Okay, wait.
What did you say?
Did we or did we not learn FOIL in elementary school?
oh no, it's,
Okay, got the
no,
2.
it's 7i.
Okay, plus 7i
Sorry. Plus 3i squared.
plus 3i squared. Now, after a while, after you do your homework, I would hope that instead of writing 3i squared, you just write -3 already, right? Because I squared is -1, right? Yes. So whole 1, go. Well, you got the easy one.
So that's 4 plus minus I squared. No. Yeah. Yeah. 4 minus I squared. Right?
Well, what is I squared?
-1.
So then,
-4.
oh wait,
Let's say 5.
yeah, 5 is correct. Okay, so how do you write your final? What's the final answer? -1/5 plus 7/5 I. Whenever you write complex numbers, you always write it in A plus BI form. What do we call that form? A plus BI. This is called standard form of a complex number. A plus BI. Okay, so the beginning part of the homework, you're going to be working with complex numbers just to refresh your memory from last year. The second part of the homework, you're going to start solving quadratic equations. Now, what are the, Kev, is it illegal footwear?
No, they have back straps.
I'll give you a backtrack. Okay, what am I talking about? Okay, let's say you have a quadratic equation. 2x squared plus x equals 3. What is the standard way of solving quadratic equations? You make one side 0. And then you factor it if you can, right? But what happens if you cannot factor it? Then you use the quadratic formula. So tonight's homework, there's a whole bunch of quadratic equations you need to solve. So I want to see how you're solving it. Like, are you like doing it the smart way or doing it the long way? That's what I'm looking for tonight. So like this one, is this how do you even tell if this is factorable? How do you like what if these are bigger numbers? Like what if that's 27 and that's 32 and that's -179? How do you tell if it's factorable? No. Okay, no. Let's write down the quadratic formula. If you have a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, what are the two solutions? X equals -b plus or minus. Who said opposite? It sounds like you came from Mr. Teskey's class, right? It's negative b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus. Do we really not know this all over? Okay, now, what is that thing there called? That is called the discriminant. The discriminant tells you lots of things. For example, if b squared minus 4ac is positive, this is all in your notes, whole one. You don't need to write down anything. Okay, keep writing. If b squared minus 4ac is positive, what does that mean? It's in the notes. That means you have two real roots. What if b squared minus 4ac is 0? Then you have one double root. If b squared minus 4ac is negative, then you have two complex roots, right? That are conjugates of each other. How come they're conjugates? Because of the plus or minus. And then what would happen if b squared minus 4ac, it comes out to a perfect square? Then you get two rational roots. Did you ever like use the quadratic formula and this came out to like 16 and you go, darn, I could have factored it? You guys ever did that? That never happened to you? Like, or this came out to like 9. It's a perfect square. Square root of 9 is 3. If this thing comes out to a perfect square, that means you get rational roots, which means you can factor it. So like this problem here, can I factor it? What is b squared minus 4ac? Okay, this is a, this is b, this is c. What is b squared? 1 minus 4. Let me write it down for you. What is b squared minus 4ac? If you still can't get it, how many times are we going to go home today? What is that equal to? 25. Is that a perfect square? Yes, that means you can factor it because you're going to get rational roots. Oh gosh. Okay, well, we got 1 minute left. You're in a heap of trouble. That's all I got to say now. You guys better look at your notes tonight. Okay, let me tell you something else about a quadratic. How many roots does a quadratic equation have? Are you kidding me? By definition, a quadratic equation has, look at the power, people. It has two roots. Let's call them R1 and R2 then. If I add the two roots together, you will always get negative b over, how do you know that? Well, you're looking at the notes. And if you multiply the two roots together, you will always get, Mason? C over A. Now, some of you, like, I know you learned this last year, but some of you, like, thought it was not that important, but you're going to see just how important it is. Now, the bell's going to ring, so you're going to have to look at the notes. Now, some of the well, I want to see how you're doing the problems. Are you doing it the good way or the bad way? Oh yeah, Mr. Park, I'm not going to even do it. I'm going to show you. Oh yeah, I'm going to show you when I pass back the quiz. Oh, woo! Live action!